Hi, my name is Rohit Prakash and I am the founder of iDream. I welcome you to your training video for the Nokia Rakhwale School E-Waste program. The objective of this video is to train you and your team to be able to deliver the Nokia Rakhwale School E-Waste program in a school in your city. Your MOUs have already been sent to you. In case you have not received them yet, please send us an email and we shall do the needful. I will be assisted in this video by my colleagues Nidhi Prabhakar and Chetanvij. So, let's start. Before we begin, let us first have a look at the objectives of this campaign. We all know and understand that electronic waste is a growing problem and it needs to be solved and solved now. The first objective of our campaign is therefore simply to create awareness about the growing problem of electronic waste. But consider this, is it enough to stop at awareness? In today's times, we need to move towards actions that can help solve the problem. The second objective of the campaign is to present an option in front of people to enable them to recycle their electronic waste. Thirdly, Nokia has been one of those organizations which has clearly established a thought leadership when it comes to responsible handling of electronic waste. Moreover, since we are interacting with the young kids, the objective of the campaign is also to establish Nokia as a responsible, fun, youthful and exciting brand which cares for its society and environment. Now, let us get down to how the project will be implemented in schools, and we hope that the objectives are clear with you and your team. The first step in this campaign is to get the school's permission for our teams to visit the school and do the campaign. You can contact schools in your area through a permission or a proposal letter, a copy of which will also be shared with you through an email. And once you send them the letter, you can also contact them through phone calls. Once the school receives the letter, you can try and arrange a meeting with either the principal or the concerned teacher in charge of the school, to whom you can give them the details of the campaign and present it. In case you have good relationships with the school, you can also explain to them about the campaign on the phone itself. Principals are the most important part of any school, and an inspired principal can really make this campaign a huge success. Whenever you meet the principal or the teacher in the school, please make sure that you take some time out and tell them about the problem of electronic waste that you are addressing, how big is this problem, and the kind of solutions that we are offering. Also tell them that we would be interacting with the young kids of their school in a very interactive and a fun-filled manner. At this stage, also tell the principal that you have already been doing this campaign in more than 3,000 schools across the country, and the campaign has been a huge success across. It is extremely important to get the principal or the teacher of the school very excited about this program, and make sure that you involve them right from the start of this program in their school. At the end of the discussion with the principal, there are certain things that need to be finalized before your team visits the school to be able to conduct the campaign. All these points are listed in the next slide. I request you to please take a note of these points very carefully. Before you conclude your meeting with the principal or the teacher in charge, please note these points very carefully. These points are also important because the nature of our workshop has changed from what it was in the first phase. Please tell the school that one workshop is only for a group of 40 students and 2 workshops will be conducted when you visit the school for the campaign. A group 1 from classes 6 to 8 and group 2 from classes 9th to 12th, which means that a total of 80 students needs to be selected by the school, 40 in group 1 and 40 in group 2. Moreover, another important point that needs to be considered is that in one group, all the 40 students need to be distributed equally depending on the number of houses in a school. For example, if a school has 4 houses, then each house should be represented by at least 10 students from classes 6 to 8 in case of group 1 and classes 9 to 12 in case of group 2. In case there are less or a higher number of houses in a school, the students should be distributed accordingly. We also should try and take some time out from the school to be able to conduct one activity with the teachers. In case the school allows us to do this, we should try and conduct one activity with the teachers as well. Before you end your meeting, please fix up a day and time for the campaign and inform school of any other requirements that you may have. Hope you are now ready to execute the campaign in the school. So let's see how this campaign needs to be executed in the school. On the workshop day, you and your team must arrive at least 15 minutes prior to the scheduled time and meet the teacher in charge. After that, choose the location where you need to conduct the campaign. In the first phase, if you remember, we mostly used to go to an auditorium or a classroom or a space where we can show our PowerPoints. But in this case, the workshop is full of activities, games, and students will have to make a lot of movement. Therefore, it is ideal to choose an open space which can allow movement of students from one place to another. Once you have chosen the location, the first step would be to place all our regular collaterals at places so that everyone can see them. Our regular collaterals with which you are also familiar with include the Shah Rukh Khan standee, the posters, badges, and any other thing that you have used in your previous phase of the campaign. The next step would be within that space, choose those locations where you will make the children play the games. The details of the games and the collaterals that will be required to play these games will be presented to you in the subsequent slides. Once everything is set, then wait for the students to come in. As the students start coming in, make sure that you make them sit in groups according to their houses. After you have placed all the collaterals, wait for the students to join in. Once the students enter the room, ask them to settle down, and then what we do is we follow a basic structure of our workshop, which is we start with an introduction, we then conduct our activities and our games, and finally we do a concluding session with the students. So let's do each of these steps one by one. Environment education has long been boring. It is time now for us to get some fun into this whole model of teaching environment to children. So, when students settle down, let us try and see if we can build some excitement in the students. Let's surprise them. So, you can ask the students whether they would want to have a quiz. Ask them if they are prepared for a quiz on the theme of environment. You can tell them that, okay, take out your pen and a paper and we'll have a quiz. And as soon as students start looking at each other, they start making some noises, they start making some movements, you can tell them that, hey, keep all your pens and paper inside. There is no quiz that is happening. We are going to have some fun. We are going to play some games. What we present to you next is a set of 4 games. Depending on the amount of time you have with each group of students, you can choose to play all or a select group of games with them. The four games that we're going to talk about are ring game, memory game, crowd painting, and the web of life. The objective behind each of these games, how they are to be played, and what is the scoring methodology will be presented in the subsequent slides. Before you start playing the games, take a note of these instructions very carefully. Make sure the students are divided into their house teams. Once the students are divided, you send team number 1 to game location 1, team 2 to game location 2, team 3 to game location 3, and so on and so forth. We have a total of 4 games. In case there are more number of teams, then team number 5 again goes to the game location 1, team number 6 goes to location number 2, and they wait for their turns before the first team finishes playing the game. Please note that after completing their first games, teams move on to the next games in the same order, which means that team 1, after having finished game 1, will move on to play game 2, game 3, and then game 4, whereas team 2, after having finished game 2, will then play game 3, followed by game 4, and finally followed by game number 1. All 4 games, if executed efficiently, can run simultaneously. You might need people at each of the game locations to conduct the game in a smooth manner. In case there are not enough members in your own team, you can ask the school to arrange for student volunteers whom you can brief before starting the campaign in the school, and they can help you out in conducting these games. At each location, start the game only after you have explained the rules to the teams. Once you explain the rules, you can then hand over the game to the teams and ask them to play them. The duration of each of these games can be a maximum of 10 minutes. That is why we have kept a maximum time of only 1 hour to finish the entire activity, starting from introduction, the games, and the conclusion. So now let's see how these games are to be played. We start with the ring game. The objective of this ring game is to explain the correct sequence of formal authorized recycling process. As you are already aware that majority of electronic waste that is generated or is coming in India is informally recycled, which is not a healthy practice. Therefore, it is important for students to understand that there exists a formal recycling process and what are the steps involved in the same. The game is simple to execute, and the only material that is required to play this game is a chart paper and a set of 6 cards numbered from 1 to 6. As you can see in this chart paper, the various steps involved in the formal recycling process of electronic waste are mentioned here in a jumbled manner. What the students had to do is identify the correct sequence and place the right card against the right sequence. What it means is that if a student identifies crushing as a first step, then he or she has to put card number 1 against the first step. Just like this. Similarly, the game shall proceed and the student need to place the second card against the second step which he or she feels is the right step in the sequence. The game keeps on proceeding like this until the student is able to identify all the correct 6 steps in this sequence. The total time allotted for this game is 5 minutes, and once the allotted time is over, the trainer can take the sheet from the students, note down whether they have identified the correct sequence or not, and award them points in the following manner. 5 points are awarded for every correct sequence identified. The trainer can check the sequence from the sheet given to them and award points accordingly. A total of 30 points can be made in this game by any team. Once the team playing this game finishes their game, they move on to the next game, and the other team waiting to play this game starts playing the game after hearing the instructions from either the trainer or the volunteer. The second game that we have with us is the memory game. The objective behind this game is to make the students understand what are the various positive and negative aspects associated with electronic waste recycling. At the end of this game, students should be able to understand why we should actually go for electronic waste recycling. This game, like the previous one, is also easy to implement, and all that you need is a chart paper and a set of cards on which the words positive and negatives are written. To prepare the collateral for this game, all you need to do is take a chart paper and write down various positives and negatives of electronic waste recycling. As you can see here, what we have done here is we have identified just 9 points, some of which are positives and some of which are negative when it comes to electronic waste recycling, and we have mentioned them on this chart paper in a jumbled manner. Beside this chart paper, you need to prepare either cards or sticky notes which has the words of either positive or negative written on them. You can see here that we have these two sticky notes. With positive and negative written on them. Now let's understand how in reality would you play this game with the students. Before we start the game, the team members are given 1 minute to memorize the chart paper and identify positive and negative points out of these. In this memory game, one person of the team will be blindfolded. As you can see in this video, Nidhi is blindfolding Chetan. Once the blindfolding is done, Chetan will move towards the chart paper of this game, while the other members of the team will step back. What Chetan has to do now is pick up the cards one by one, first positive followed by negative or vice versa, and place the right card against the right effect on the chart paper. Let's see how is that done. Chetan will now be handed over a positive card by his teammate. Depending on his memory, Chetan now has to place the positive card against the positive impact of electronic waste recycling on the chart paper. The other team members can prompt Chetan to go in the right direction and place the right card against the right impact.
Left, top, yes.
Once Chetan finishes with one card, he is given the next card, which is a negative card. Chetan now has to place a negative card against the right impact. The team members can again prompt.
Correct.
Just like this, the game proceeds further and the teams have to identify the right impact, either positive or negative, and finish their game in a duration of 5 minutes. The scoring for this game is extremely simple. For every correct answer identified by the teams, 5 points are awarded to them. Once you calculate the point for this team will move on to the next game, and the next team in the waiting will start to play the game after hearing the instructions from the trainer. The next game that we have is called the crowd painting. The purpose of playing this game is to help students understand that we all have a common shared future which can be preserved by individual and the combined effort. To play this game, one chart paper needs to be given to each team with a set of either watercolors or crayons. Each member of the team is then given a card. The card can be an emotion, it can be an object, or it can be a living creature. What the students have to do is draw whatever is given to their card on a sheet of chart paper which would be given to them. Let's see how it looks like. This is one of the crowd painting that was drawn by a team in one of the schools in Delhi. They were given different cards and they drew everything together on a single chart paper to depict their shared future. The total duration of this game is 10 minutes. The painting can be judged by the school teacher or the teacher in charge who is present during the campaign. The best painting is given 30 points, the second best painting is given 20 points, and the third best painting is given 10 points. The rest of the paintings are not given any points as a part of this game. Let us now move on to our last game, which is called the Web of Life. The purpose of the Web of Life is to help students understand how we are all interconnected to each other in this ecosystem and how important is this linkage. The materials required for this game are the Web of Life cards and a thread. A number of Web of Life cards will be sent to you via an email. Let us now see how we need to play this game. To be able to play this game, we would first need to make Web of Life cards. These cards represent different parts of the ecosystem, and a list of these cards will be sent to you over your email. Once the team is ready to play this game, these Web of Life cards are distributed to each member of the team. Let's see how this game is played. The student with the sun card starts the game. What he or she needs to do is, he needs to wrap a portion of the thread around one of the fingers and then pass the thread to the next person in the team with whom he or she feels he or she has the connection. In this case, the sun has passed to the plants. The plant has to do the same thing. He or she needs to wrap a portion of the thread around his finger or her finger and then pass on the thread to the next person in the link with whom he or she feels he or she has the connection. The game keeps on proceeding like this unless all the members of the team are interconnected. The total duration of this game is 10 minutes. Once the time is over, trainer needs to use the web created by the students to make them understand how everything is connected to each other. Students are awarded 5 points for every correct sequence identified. Once the students finish their games, make them once again sit in their groups. As the students settle down, discuss each and every game with the students. Spend 10 minutes and ask the students what did they learn, how these games are applicable in their practical lives. Tell the students what was the message behind each and every game. You can also use the Nokia videos and a short recycling film which will be shared with you to further enhance your message. In the end, tell them that the competition is not over yet and there is one more activity which the students need to do to be able to decide the winner. The last two tasks that the students have to perform are mentioned on this slide. The first task is the collection of electronic waste. You can tell the students that points will be awarded to every electronic waste that they collect. For every old and dead handset, they are awarded 10 points. For chargers, 5 points, batteries, 2 points, and for any other mobile accessory like earphones or data cables, they are awarded 1 point. Besides, they also have to do a signature campaign in which on a single sheet of paper they need to get 20 green pledges signed from their neighbors. A format of this sheet will be shared to you via email. In the end, after the students have got 20 pledges, the sheet should be signed by either the child's father or mother, and 20 points are to be awarded for every such sheet. The idea behind doing the signature campaign is simple. The idea is that we should be able to reach out to as many people as possible through this campaign and make them aware about what we are doing and why is it beneficial for the environment. Before you conclude your session with the students, please inform them that a total of 5 days will be given to them for e-waste collection and the signature campaign. Inform them that your team shall be revisiting the school after 5 days to collect the electronic waste and declare the winners. Also inform the students about various awards that will be given to the school, the teacher and the students. A detail of all the awards are mentioned in front of you. After students leave the workshop premises, please make sure that before leaving the school, you go and meet the principal of the school and brief him or her about various activities that you did in the school. We sincerely hope that you have taken a note of all the points that were mentioned in this video. In case you have any confusion and any doubts, you can always call us or write to us as per the information presented in the slide next.